Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Evening, Jamie. We are live. Hopefully you can see and hear us. Hopefully, hopefully you can see and hear us. You know, one or the other would be good. Joined this evening by, do you know what I called you? It's true. It's what I called you in the introduction. 8-figure entrepreneur, Matthew Webley, because that's what you are.
Yeah, total sales. Total sales, yeah, absolutely. I'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I suddenly, that's how I introduce people now. Everyone's got like a number or whatever. Hi, Cindy. Yeah, let us know in the comments if you can see and hear us all right. I think StreamYard's a little bit delayed tonight. As much as I love StreamYard, I think the only thing is it's just got a little bit of a lag on the comments. Hi, Bob.
I think StreamYard is unreal. It's such
really
a great piece of software, executed so well. I love it. It's great.
Well, I said to Matt earlier, I said, do you know what? I think out of, everything we do from, like this type of thing and whatever, I don't think I've come across a better bit of software than StreamYard for what and a lot of it you can do for free anyway. But obviously, even when you're doing it a bit more like we do, for never mind buy box, elite sellers, secret tribes, all those type of things, we've got our own accounts, obviously. But the cost is very
tiny. It's a bargain. Have you tried to use Facebook's own live thing these days as well? They changed it, like, I don't know if it was a year ago, half a year ago or something. They changed it about a year ago or something. It's garbage. It's out of sync. It's overly complicated. It went from just hit live and go for it, amazing, to absolute terrible. So StreamYard's just beautiful.
Yeah. We like it, and they're only improving it all the time, which is good as well. So like I said on last night's Q&A, I was playing around with like green screens and everything, but I've given up on that at the moment. I'm going to wait for the technology to get just that little bit better. Gonna wait for that. Right, say hello to everyone. So Matt Cromie's in the house. Imran, hello, how are you? Salvatore, hi. Fran, hi. Abdullah, hi. Cindy. Got quite a few YouTubers tonight. Nikkei, Craig, Jamie, they can hear and see us fine, so that's absolutely fine. Philip's joined us. Evening, Philip. Hope you're all well. Christos has joined us. So Matt, how are you?
I'm all right, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. It's been a busy old few weeks. I don't know, everything that we're doing at the moment, from personal point of view, from Secret Wealth Project, never mind the buy box, elite seller, the amount of activity that is going on at the moment, selling as well, it feels like it's Q4. It still feels like it's Q4. We normally in January, things all calm down. We have a little bit of break, we take stock, but we've not really had the opportunity. We had one day when the kids went back to school, and it just feels absolutely crazy at the moment. Whereas we're, normally this time of year, we'd just be taking it easy, thinking about a few holidays, something like that. But it's just crazy at the moment.
Yeah, it's none of that. You're not going to be thinking about no holidays now unless you want to.
No way.
But I know what you mean. I do know what you mean. It's a weird time of year, this normally. It's usually a bit of a lull. And I definitely think there is, a lull that's happened that I wasn't expecting. Just in general, I just think there is. But it happens every year. So I don't know why I weren't expecting it. But I know what you mean. Busy. We talk all the time, don't we? You mean that? You know what Ollie said to me? Ollie, my partner, for anyone watching that don't know. She said, I think she said something like, you talk to Nat more than you talk to me. That's what she said. It wasn't like that. It wasn't.
No, I know. Well, I think it's safe to say for anyone that's watching this, anyone that's watching on the replay, we do like a chat, don't we? We do like to talk, both of us.
Yeah. A 1 hour chat becomes a 3 hour chat, and a 10-minute chat becomes a 1 hour chat.
Absolutely. Evening, Callum. Evening, Joseph. Hi, Martino. Hi, Sue. Hi, Caitlin. Greetings. Yeah, good to see you all. Let us know in the comments. How do you guys feel at the moment? Do you feel we're in this weird sort of Q4 limbo that's not really Q4? Because I must notice, I've got to be honest, that it's only the last couple of days. Everyone's had this stonking January. Everyone I know, everyone that I've spoken to, in terms of sales, have been doing phenomenally well in January. But all of a sudden, February's crept in and sales seem to have dipped a little bit.
Yeah.
Bit of price tanking going on again. Obviously, a lot of people have been having issues with conformity, document issues with toys and things like that as well. It feels a little bit, and I don't want to put this in people's minds, but it just feels like a little bit of a start of a kind of negative kind of vibe a little bit at the moment. Not like crazy, oh my God, I'm going to kill myself, I'm never going to sell on Amazon again, but just get this little bit of an edge of a negative vibe. So I just want you guys to let us know in the comments if you're feeling that too, or if you are just still riding Q5. It'd be good to hear everyone's thoughts.
I think I'm seeing that. I'm seeing that in comments. I'm seeing a little bit of. I mean, you'd expect it this time of year normally, wouldn't you? But I don't think anybody was expecting it, because we were just expecting things to just roll lockdown style, just roll in like it was last year. And I think people aren't seeing it as much. But it's still better than a normal February. Way better than a normal February for everything, across everything.
Yeah, I think so. And I think, this is why we do things like this about, when we talk about Amazon and we talk about general kind of updates and things that are going on, purely because we're here to manage people's expectations. Because let's face it, to be perfectly honest, if you have started selling on Amazon anytime in the last 12 months, you've not really experienced a normal cycle of selling on Amazon, or what was the normal cycle of selling on Amazon. I think that's permanently changed forever after the last 12 months. I think that is, safe to say. So for some of you guys that have only been starting selling in the last, kind of 12 months, you're probably a bit like, oh my God, they're talking negative. Why, it's great selling on Amazon. But what we mean is normally there is this really big lull. January is normally quite good for most people.
Yeah, especially for the first half of January, especially.
Yeah. Especially the people who are, hold on to their toys, held their prices during Q4. You can have a really, really good Q1 ordinarily. It's generally around February or March, unless you're selling very seasonal products. I see Craig, he's doing great in grocery and health and personal. Lots of grocery is still going to be going really well at the moment because of COVID restrictions, and we're in a lockdown and everything like that anyway. And then we're going to be coming into Easter, so people are going to be selling lots of confectionery, and less people are going to be going to the stores, definitely. So it's I don't know. It's normally February. We normally do start to see a little bit of a lull, but I want to manage people's expectations and say that if you are experiencing a little bit of a lull at this time of year, do you know what? It's all right. It's all right, because this is what would normally happen in a normal Amazon selling cycle. And I think we will return to a similar Amazon selling cycle at some point in the future. But I do think the overall bar has been raised.
Definitely. The levels across the board have increased. I don't know if you guys have lost me or I've lost Nat or what. Are you there? Was that me, Nat, or was that you?
No, I think it was you. I've been here the whole time, so.
Well, I've been here the whole time for me, but it just jumped. We'll have to let somebody tell us.
Do you know what? Every time I don't think it's me, it's always me though. So
no, I don't know if it was me or not. I can always change my router thing if I need to. But yeah, I mean, ever since when I owned the nightclub, we're going back some years now, but it was honestly like December was amazing. And then January was meh, February meh, March meh, and then it started picking up in April. And I think that's pretty much the traditional way of business. Like gyms would be busy in January, obviously, and all that stuff. But like it's very much a cyclical thing, business, isn't it? But I think because of this COVID stuff and the lockdown stuff, I think I was expecting Q1 this year to just roll like all of the Qs last year. And I think what's happening is we're just getting a return to kind of normal seasonality in selling. But like you say, everything's lifted. So this Q2 and Q1 will not be as bad as 2 years ago before COVID. That Q1 would have been a lot worse than this Q1. And so, like you say, just sales have lifted across the board. Things are up. But it's right. We've lost some of that momentum, I think. But it's just normal. It's very normal.
Yeah, it's really normal. And like Matt says, you know, even if it has dipped a little bit, then I most definitely think that it's still going to be experiencing a better January, February, March that you would have done this time last year. Without, you know, the COVID situation, obviously. Matt, I don't know. I think it is me, actually. I've realised I'm not connected to the internet as I should be. So are you all right just to answer questions and comments a second while I just pop out and come back in?
Of course I am. Yeah. I'll see you in a minute.
All right. I'll see you in a sec.
As long as it doesn't drop me. Hey, hello, folks. Nice to see you. To see you nice and all that. So, yeah, Nat's flickering. What we're saying. Yeah, Imran says February is when folk have to pay their Christmas credit card bills. Absolutely. So first, obviously, January is quite a long month anyway, because a lot of people get paid just before Christmas. So then they, instead of last Friday of the month or whatever, a lot of people get paid just before Christmas. So it's a long time to wait with Christmas in the way. It's a long time to wait to get to February. And then obviously people are living on a little bit of debt, credit cards and all that. And then it's a matter of, oh, everybody's been paid. Now we try and pay off some of the credit card debt. And then next month, it may be the same for a lot of people. And then the month after, and April starts to pick up. Sean says, welcome back, Nat. I think we will get a slowdown when the government opens up shops. Good time to spread your ASINs and add more listings. Yeah, that's the thing. The thing is, when you never know, when they open things up, maybe they start spending in the shops again. But I don't know. I don't think they're going to go back to normal spending habits. Do you? You not? No.
No, absolutely not. The world, don't get me wrong, people are going to go back to shopping in shop, but the world has fundamentally changed over the last 12 months. We've talked about this before. We've talked about it a lot over the last few months, but we are witnessing the evolution of online retail, online marketing, retail, whatever you want to call it. We are witnessing it as much as I suppose I'm just trying to think of a.
It's been forced, though, hasn't it? It's been forced. It's like,
yeah, it's not natural. It's not naturally happened.
I think we've had 10 years. I don't know what the numbers are that from people who've done studies, but like we've had like 10 years of online sales growth in 1 year or something like that. But it's not going to return to where it was. It's like we've like flew into the future. But a lot of silver surfers that we never would have bought online before are buying online and stuff. Can I just say before you carry on, Nat, because I don't want to forget him. Luke says, need a poker sesh again. Absolutely. We do need a poker sesh again. I've forgotten, but we do. And also, I want to reply to your Matt that says, I need snow or sun. Absolutely. Snow or sun would be lovely, but it'd be next year now.
Yeah, well, definitely no snow or, well, definitely down Bournemouth way. There's no snow or sun either way. So I know you've had snow.
Yeah, it's snowing right now. Well, it's not snowing right now, but snow's on my car right now. Yeah, it's all snowy. It's been lovely today. It's been like a snow globe, really slow, circular, like snow. Very nice.
Yeah, it's the one thing we wanted. We were like, oh my God, we just want one snow day for the kids in lockdown because it's been rubbish for them, obviously. So just to have like a proper snow day, they would have loved it. And they did promise us some snow in Bournemouth, but it didn't materialize. So hey ho, we've got to move on and accept it, unfortunately. But yeah, also as well, weather implications at the moment, that's contributing to the fact if people can't get out. I think overall, the world has fundamentally changed. I agree with Imran when he says lockdown going to carry on for another year or so in some shape or form. They were talking about this new variant today, all of these different, the Kent variant and all these different types of things. I think the government's been pretty, oh God, I don't want to start getting on government and transparency and everything. Wrong subject to bring up. But I do think they've been relatively, the advisors, I think they've been relatively transparent and saying, look, guys, this vaccine is not going to solve all of our problems. We've got a long way to go yet. But yeah, we'll leave that.
Don't get me started. You know how I feel on that. Like, don't get me started on all this nonsense. I'm gonna have a little rant. I'm gonna have a little rant, just a tiny little rant, and then we'll move on.
Okay, go on then. This you got to say it now because that's it. We're not going to bring it up again.
Okay, all right. 1, lockdowns, nonsense, total garbage. Save the NHS. 2 weeks to flatten the curve, nonsense. 2, this blooming middle of February reopen again, nonsense, and we knew it back then. It's like all the lies and the rubbish that comes out of their mouth. We know what it is, and honestly, that's it. I'll say no more. Done.
Okay.
But I've got lots more to say. I just won't say it right now because I know Nat wants to keep it positive.
No, it's not that. I still think you should do your own kind of podcast about this type of stuff. So I know you're really into it, and I know that there are so many other people that are really into it as well. So
I don't want a target on my back from the powers that be. No, I mean you laugh, but honestly, I've seen people get shadow banned for saying too much of the wrong stuff. And every now and again, I slip up and just say what I want to say. And then I just remember, get off your soapbox, Matt. Don't get shadow banned. It's okay. Just carry on thinking what I think. I know some people here know what I think, but I'll keep it relatively to myself because
we keep it light and we keep it on Amazon, most definitely. Yeah. Right. So obviously we've been talking so far about some of the things that have been happening over at Amazon. I mean, there's no massive news to bring apart from kind of what's going on at the moment. Now, we're expecting a few changes over the coming months, you know, certainly in 2020 with regards to how Amazon's operating. And again, it's about managing your guys' expectations, keeping you updated with all of the latest kind of moving and shaking with what's going on at Amazon. That's the purpose of this particular broadcast. Now, obviously, I know a lot of you guys have been dealing with the declaration of conformity, the policy warnings that were issued a couple of months ago, which seems crazy because everyone was given like a 2-month time to be able to sell out of the toys that they were requesting the documentation from. And the 2 months is like up for most people now, which is crazy because I remember when this first started talking out and everyone was like, oh no, you've got ages, don't worry, you'll be able to sell it out, you'll be able to do this and you'll be able to do that. But what we didn't know at the time is what Amazon was going to do once the 2 months had come up. Now, as much as I want to be able to deliver the news and say to everyone, right, this is what happens if you do this, or this is what happens if you don't do this. But Amazon have been so inconsistent, not like them, on, you know, what you can do and what you can't do with these declarations of conformity. We know how to apply and things like that and appeal and everything now. But now that we've hit the 2 months, I speak to a multitude of sellers every day. And it's such a mixed bag. Some, they've just disappeared and they've been allowed to continue selling that product. Some, the listing has stayed up, but they've been taken off the listing. Some, the listing's been completely deleted. No one can see it. No one can, you know, relist on that particular product. So it's not like there's a particular pattern for it once you hit the deadline. So I feel really bad because I can't say to people, okay, well, after 2 months, if you don't sell it, it's going to do this, because we still don't really know. I've seen sellers that have had 20 listings a day, 100 listings wiped off of their particular account. And then I talk to other people and say, well, I've had the warnings and I was able to appeal, or I've had the warnings and I've been able to, you know, and the listings have stayed up. So it's really contradictory kind of issues with it at the moment.
What's the verdict? Is the verdict you can't sell toys on Amazon anymore in the UK, or is the verdict what is the verdict?
I know many sellers are not selling toys or not going to be selling toys moving forward because of this particular incident. Now, the more people that were toy heavy are going to be the more people that are going to be affected. Obviously, you know, I know some sellers that are on here tonight that predominantly sell toys and, you know, and have 500 SKUs on their account. So it's going to hit them hard. Whereas you've got the grocery, so health and personal care people that probably tend to sell in higher volume, lower margin, that don't really touch toys as much. So they might have had the odd Disney toy or something like that over Q4. So not really affecting them as much. It's more going to affect the people that are predominantly selling toys, because the more toys you have, the more percentage you're going to have. But if you are someone that picks up the odd toy in an RA or certain type of sales, I think continue on as normal, because one, it doesn't affect every single ASIN. Two, you should get around 2 months to sell it, something like that. My advice is, if you can do it, and I appreciate this isn't going to be for everyone, if you know that the toy that you're purchasing and you want to resell is going to be something that might tank price-wise or something like that, if you can sit on it and hold it personally before sending it in, or because the trouble is with this as well, even if you list it merchant fulfilled, it's still affecting the 2 months, the policy declaration. Whereas we weren't sure of that at first. If you listed it merchant fulfilled, you might get away with it, but unfortunately not. It's the same both ways. So if you can sit and hold on it, because I would rather have those 2 months to be able to sell it free and clear, as opposed to competing with other people, and then there potentially be a lot of price tanking. Because what we do know, as soon as a policy documentation request goes on an ASIN, it goes out to all the sellers on that ASIN. So what's the first thing that's going to happen on that ASIN? The price is going to go down, because people are going to get scared at the end of the day. So, I mean, Gurav said he's still ordering toys as normal. So, you know, I think it's a bit of a mixed bag. I think some people are swearing off toys forever. I think some people are carrying on as normal regardless. Some people just see it as a bit of a speed bump. Whereas I think some people, if it's, you know, a very small percentage of their business, they'll probably just try their luck and see what they can come up with. But I know Binay, I was talking to him earlier, and, 100 listings remove and all the appeals declined, and, you know, he was saying that those particular items, they're replenishables. He'd been selling them for 5 years.
Wow.
So, which kind of sucks, to be perfectly honest. So it's going to really be, I suppose, down to each seller's own decision. But what I'm always gutted about in a situation like this is there's no way around it. There's no hack. There's no trick. There's no, if you've been selling for 5 years and you've got a platinum account, you can get around it. This is affecting all sellers of all creeds, regardless how long you've been selling. And there's no hack or nat trick to get out of it, unfortunately, that we're aware of at the moment.
I can think of one.
What?
eBay?
Oh, eBay. Yes, of course. Yeah. Which has been hot on our lips this week, obviously. Yeah, no, that is one of the only ways around it. And obviously is you can still look at the toy opportunity. And I know that that's why Matthew has appealed so much over the last week to a lot of people, because with regards to these declaration of conformity and policy warnings and things like that, people are going to be looking for alternative routes. And obviously eBay is one of them. Matthew's kind of opened our eyes and shown us the light a little bit. And there is a platform out there that will treat you nice, guys, and it's eBay.
Yeah, eBay always seems to have been friendlier with sellers than Amazon. Amazon's great. Don't get me wrong. It's got the biggest marketplace. It's got a really beautiful setup. There's all those Prime subscriptions. There's FBA. Amazon's got a lot going for it. But the odd speed bump does take a little bit of romance out of it at times. But if you combine it with eBay, then you're going to be okay.
Yeah, nice rhyme. You can combine both worlds, most definitely. And that's the thing. We are seeing more and more people do this now. Can you imagine 2 years ago, as when I probably first seriously became involved in this group? I'd always been a mod, always been a contributor in the group, but about 2 years ago, started getting involved in the group a little bit more. But can you imagine 2 years ago, we would be, because it's very Amazon focused then. And obviously we didn't know, and we weren't hearing about people selling on eBay. There were people selling on eBay, obviously. And there were people talking about Shopify and all these different kind of income. But where we've seen this massive surge in internet sales in the last year, there's more and more opportunity. There's more and more opportunity.
I'll tell you what I saw eBay as. Like a lot of people, eBay was a little bit predominantly, I mean, at least in your mind, even if not in reality, predominantly a secondhand place that you sell secondhand stuff, or stuff you import from China in bulk and then like sell it like that. But what Matthew does, it's more like the OA model, isn't it? Buying normal products and selling them rather than bulk private label from China like Lewis does, or secondhand stuff out your garage that's not very scalable. So yeah, I think I've had my eyes opened by Matthew as to the opportunity on eBay over the last month or so, or few weeks.
And Matthew isn't just an eBay seller, and we've talked about this a lot. He doesn't refer to himself as an eBay seller, which essentially, by the way, Matthew is not doing any private label products. He is a reseller, essentially. His products that he's selling are purchased arbitrage or through wholesale. So there's no private label aspect here. And he has essentially built this seven multi-figure brand.
You were going to say billion, multi-billion.
I was going to say billion.
You wish.
Yeah, absolutely. He's built this multi-seven-figure brand because Matthew doesn't, he's built a brand for his reselling company at the end of the day, which is so important in this day and age, and being able to differentiate yourself between the next seller and presenting yourself as opportunity to the people that you want to work with, your wholesalers, your retailers, and people like that. And I've got to be honest, I think that's the biggest change that we've got to make in this group this year, is introducing people, building their brand, giving them the most opportunities as possible. Because the way I see it, if you guys are stressing yourself out and working this hard, you might as well be doing it to the maximum level and taking the most of the opportunity. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, absolutely.
Now, I just want to go back and answer Paul's question. You mentioned about sitting on them and you can find out if you're going to get a request without listing it. No, there's no way to test, unfortunately. You have to list it. And then once you've listed it, there's no way going back. So you can't like take it off and it will restart again. So there's no way to tell. We've certainly not identified any way that you can tell. It's we don't know if it's Amazon bots. We don't know if it's something within the listing as yet. I suppose as more time goes on, we'll notice some sort of pattern, but not one that we've seen at the moment. But yes, you do have to list it in order to know. And the notification comes in about 3 to 5 days. For some people, it comes within 15 minutes of listing. But if you haven't got one after about 5 days, then hopefully you should be okay. For that. Abu says, let's sell on Walmart. I wish we had Walmart here. We all thought Asda was going to be the new Walmart, but it's not, unfortunately. But going back and talking about eBay, sorry, very, very quickly. Matthew did do a Q&A last night. And, for anyone that hasn't had the opportunity, we've popped that on YouTube. So please take a look at that before the opportunity to work with Matthew closes tomorrow. So the cart is closing, 23 and a half hours from now for the opportunity.
We need to say Matthew right, because I'm Matt Webley. He's Matthew Wright. So Natalie, if anybody's watching and don't know what we're talking about, Matthew Wright is not me. I'm Matt Webley.
Yeah.
Matthew Wright, he did a free training the other day. It was cool. Enjoyed it, but it was he's a 7-figure seller. On eBay and Amazon. So he's primarily an Amazon seller and he still thinks Amazon's the place to be, but 40% of his income comes from eBay, or 40% of his revenue comes from eBay. I don't know about his income because I think he gets better margins on eBay than he does on Amazon. So we're not saying that get rid of your Amazon business. That'd be a big mistake. Amazon's going from strength to strength and it's the place to be. For sure, Amazon is the place to be. It's one of the biggest opportunities, if not the biggest opportunity there is right now. Yeah. But eBay, everybody's kind of forgot eBay, but the figures were, he told us, what was the figures? 22 billion in sales in 1 quarter on eBay or something. Not 22 million, 22 billion in sales. And everybody thinks eBay's done. eBay's not done. Quite the opposite. It's a very strong marketplace and it's here to stay forever. And those people in the community, in Secret Wealth Project and other communities, are all like there's loads of them that are like, yeah, I sell on eBay. It's great. It's great. It's great. It's great. And then there's some people that are just like, I won't sell on eBay because of X, Y, or Z. And those reasons are kind of defunct. They're not really good reasons not to, because it's like, especially with EFN going and Europe going, well, a lot of people's sales were like 40% of the sales were probably EFN sales or Europe sales, or somewhere between 20 and 50% for most people, I think, if they sold in Europe and UK. They were European sales. Well, they've gone away for Amazon sellers. So what a great way to replace those sales and more by setting up a diversified income stream on eBay. So that's what Matthew does. Matthew sells on eBay and he sells on Amazon and he sells on Shopify, but Shopify he's only been doing it a few months and it's only a little bit of his income, but it's growing. So he's like a legit e-com guy, not just an Amazon seller, not just an eBay seller. He's a bit of everything, but he swears by eBay as being the place to expand into. But that free training is getting taken down tomorrow, and his course, his 10-week masterclass and all the associated stuff, the cart closes tomorrow. So yeah, if you were interested in building your business on eBay, honestly, for what you do now, it's a perfect pivot, perfect transition, and it could really replace your EFN income. And Matthew is absolutely the guy to teach you that stuff. He is sharp. He has been through some battles. He's seen the ups and downs, and he knows what he's talking about. And you'll be astounded. He did a Q&A with you last night, didn't he, Nat?
Yeah, we were on for an hour and a half last night, just answering eBay questions because we felt a bit bad because the week before we didn't realise the software was only going to limit us for 2 hours, and we love a good Q&A session after a webinar. So we felt, we got cut short at the end of the day. So we just wanted to do an extra kind of hour or so just answering your questions. And I think it's a good job it did because like so many questions came out, so many, so many golden nuggets that Matthew went through and talked about what you can do on Amazon. So Amazon, eBay. Yes, Katie, there is a rewatch of the Q&A. It's on YouTube under the Secret Wealth Project. So if my Matt is watching, if you wouldn't mind putting the link up for that, and just take a look for anyone that wants to look. So the Q&A, I think, was really, really good last night. But also, if you didn't see the original webinar, the replay is available for that. Just let me know.
Coming down tomorrow. I think the webinar's coming down tomorrow, because the webinar jam that we used, webinar jam's changed since I last used it, and now they've got this weird 2-hour limit on it, and you can upgrade the account, but because we're going to change some stuff, we're going to get rid of that account. So that replay is going to come down tomorrow. So if you do want to watch that replay of the webinar, you should, because Matthew makes an offer on that for his course tomorrow night. But the Q&A's on the YouTube, like Nat says. Dar says eBay is brilliant. I list some products on both eBay and Amazon and had many times to recall my Amazon product to sell on eBay, as it's flying on eBay, and on Amazon it's just going down in price and not selling that quick. So again, not trying to bash Amazon. Amazon is 100% still the place to be. It's Matthew's primary sales route or sales marketplace. It's most people's primary sales marketplace. But don't forget the eBay. There's stories like that littered all over the Secret Wealth Project. Like Dar says, it's really going well on eBay, but that particular that particular SKU, not so well on Amazon.
Yeah. And that's the thing as well, that we didn't even know it. When we first started talking to Matthew, I was talking to Matthew as an Amazon seller at the end of the day, because he's a 7-figure Amazon seller. And it was only when we did the first Never Mind the Buy box with him, but like, hang on a sec, 40% of your revenue is eBay. Yeah. And, you're a multi-million pound seller. It just kind of something switched on then at that point. And then ever since we started talking about eBay more eBay kind of sellers started coming out of the woodwork.
Everybody's popping out and going, I sell on eBay. It's almost like it was dirty word before Matthew started saying, making big money. Everyone's on it. Christos, old big horse here, says, I'm listening on eBay right now. So Christos, who is a good friend to SWP, and a bit of an influencer in the space, he's even selling on eBay right now at this very moment in time.
Absolutely. So get involved, guys. If you want any of the replays, pop it in here. Someone will pop it up, or drop me a message or whatever, or post in the Secret Wealth Facebook group and we will hook you up. But you've got less than 24 hours. And this is not sales hype or anything like that whatsoever. Matthew is a busy guy. There are no plans currently to re-release the training. We're not going to say it won't happen again in the future, but it's not something we've discussed. We want to see how it goes. We want to see all the success stories, and then we'll look at that. But don't get FOMO. Don't wait 6 months.
Whenever I've launched a course ever, I've almost always will say no plans to relaunch it again. And at least 50%, probably 70% of the time, it's actually like either a year's gone by before I have or I never have. And Matthew might very well be the same again, because this is a live thing that Matthew's doing. So it's 10 weeks. So it's
taking up a lot of his time.
It's going to take a lot of his time. And honestly, the amount of money he's going to make for doing this course is chump change compared to what he does by doing nothing, selling his eBay business. But we should stop banging on about that. Oh, it's just me. It's just me.
What happened?
Oh, Nat's back. I don't know what happened.
You know what? I'm going to start doing that. It's a bit, like Gary Vee or Tony Robbins or whatever. When the crowd might be a little bit flat or something, that they do something to shock. Maybe I should just do that every now and again. Yeah. Just to put I don't know. I just must have hit something. You guys know I've talked about this a lot I just get really excited and I wave my arms around and I end up pressing something. It's normally the mic that goes or something like that. It's crazy. But right. Let's move on. So Joseph's asked a question: when switching from an individual account on Amazon to a business account, do Amazon always stop you selling when you're re-verified? I know that a few people have answered, but I just want to sort of verbally answer as well. They don't stop you selling, but they do tend to hold your payments until they've verified you. And that can be, God knows, it could be a few days, it could be a few weeks, it could be a month. So the only thing you do have to take into account when you go through that process of doing that, and a lot of the time it's you have to go through this process possibly once every 18 months. They'll do a re-verification on your account. It's all to do with money laundering and that type of thing. So it's always good to make sure that when you do go through these type of verifications, that you have absolutely everything that Amazon wants. That means you have to make sure everything is matching on your bank account, on your company address, that you haven't got different phone numbers, that email addresses are not different in different places. Everything on your account should absolutely match, and it will get you through the verification a lot quicker. Now, you can generally have a different company registered address to your bank account, like an operating address. So you don't have to worry about too much about doing that unless they go into a real deep dive onto your account. But most people will have a registered business address with their accountant or something like that, and have a different operating address on their account. So don't worry about that too much, but it can be a silly little thing like having the wrong digit in your phone number or not having the right, it really can. So guys, just make sure, check through your personal information on your account, check everything ties up. Don't ever give Amazon a reason to take a long time or suspend you or anything like that whatsoever. Just make sure your ducks in a row when you're doing it and when you're setting it up. So yeah, that's worst case scenario. You won't ever get a suspension, as in an inauthentic claim suspension. There's a possibility that they may suspend your account, but it will be due to a verification, not due to a different type of suspension. I see some people talking about them in the same way. They're the same, but they're not. Whereas that type of verification suspension is always temporary, and it generally doesn't last a few weeks. But fingers crossed, it will go through pretty quickly for you.
Trillionaire Mark Pan's in the building. Hello, Mark.
Oh, is he?
My good buddy and friend to SWP. Says evening.
Evening, Mark. How are you?
Charlotte's just reactivated her eBay account. Had it since 2015.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely seeing some old school eBay accounts. I know Cindy last night was talking about. I know she's watching tonight as well. She reactivated hers, and it was 2004.
Yeah.
So I think our original one was 1998, something like that.
Wow, I think I probably had one from 2000 or something like that, but I don't have it now.
Yeah, well, that's how we bought our first house, was selling on eBay. So, and we bought our first house when I think we bought our first house. Matt was 19 and I was 17. So, yeah, 19. Wow. Yeah.
And you bought it selling on eBay.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about in the Q&A last night.
Do you mean you got enough for a deposit on a mortgage?
Got enough for a deposit on a mortgage. As we were both working full time, it was a side hustle. But I don't know any other 19-year-olds, except we were the first of all of our peers, you know, to buy a house, and then eventually it enabled us to be able to go on and be self-employed later at, you know, at a later date, and that's what we were talking about last night. But it's really interesting because it gave us this fantastic start in what would be, you know, leading into 15 years working for ourselves, running our own businesses, being self-employed, but we just totally forgot about it. Totally forgot about it. And then haven't sold on eBay, you know, officially for like 20 years.
Chris says you were flipping Nokia 3310s back in the 90s.
Absolutely. Oh my God, you make me sound like really old. It was actually leather satchels, which is what we made, and I imported them. And
were they leather or were they leather?
They were pleather.
Yeah, all right, okay, pleather.
That's what they were. They were pleather.
Well, I tell you what, I remember, I've probably shared this story before, but I saw pig sweat on eBay back in the day.
What is pig sweat?
Pig sweat. I called it pig sweat, but it was pheromones. So I bought some of them pheromones from some wholesaler back in the day. Clearance, cleared them out. I think in hindsight, I think they were like out of date or something, but sold them off on eBay anyway. Bought them something like 50p a bottle. I can't remember now. My memory's getting worse, but 50p a bottle, and I sold them for, I think at one point we're selling through loads for like $6.95, $7.95 a bottle or something like that. But it was all right. Made some money. I've never been much of a physical product guy, but I enjoyed that experience.
I think for me, Mark says he sold silicone buttocks. Can only imagine what that's for. But I think for me, when I break it down, physical products are definitely my most favorite. I've got to be honest, I didn't think I enjoyed creating my own products, but that's the physical products that I enjoy doing the most, which is obviously my unique bundles and things like that, because there is nothing better than selling your own product that you've created, that you've made. That's the best feeling ever. Whereas I do think that obviously arbitrage is the best way to start if you want to start selling physical products. But I do enjoy physical products, definitely. I think it's something that I've probably done the most of over all the years that we've been self-employed, and definitely physical products is for me. It's not for everyone at the end of the day, but I do like it because I think it's very old school, isn't it? You buy something low and you sell it high.
Yeah. It either appeals to you or it doesn't. I like the idea. I wanted to set up like a bikini brand. That's what I wanted to do, a bikini brand. And I talked about it to Holly like years ago now that, we should set up a bikini brand. We should pay influencers to wear the bikinis, get it out there and all that stuff. And now there's this, I don't know if it's Louboutin Avenue or something, but I don't know if you guys will have seen them, but it's like a little cross shape, of like a cross logo. And that's all they've done. As far as I can make out, they've just flooded social media influencers with these bikinis. So they probably start out free, but bikinis, what do they cost? Like £2 to make a bikini in cloth and labor. And then they're selling them for 25, 30, 35, 50 more. I don't know. But I thought that would have been great. But I think the boat has maybe sailed on that one. Just like the gym shot, I think.
Well, the good thing about bikinis is not that I wear any bikinis, because I don't. The good thing about bikinis is that with regards to clothing, now clothing is traditionally, very high returns and that type of thing. But with something like swimwear, underwear, that type of thing, you actually can't return it unless that's one of the elements, and it can be a bit fussier.
Plus small and light, really small.
Yeah, totally. It's the perfect product.
Yeah.
It's the perfect product. And with something like, I know exactly the type of bikini that you're talking about, in the sense that they're all adjustable. So there's probably generally not any fit issues or anything like that for most people. It sounds like it's like the perfect product.
Almost a perfect product. I can think of something more perfect. Do you want to know what it is?
Yeah.
Something that requires a recurring subscription. So, for example, a lot of people are doing this thing whereby, and this is what I would do if I get into physical products again at some point. This is probably what I'll do. But like replacing everyday spend items with a boxed subscription of it. So, perfect example. Have you heard of that Small?
Yeah.
Small. It's like, look, I don't know. It's like a dishwasher tablet or something. But our poor post woman has to bring us this Small every so often in this box. I bet it does her head in. But like that, replacing items of normal everyday spend with some product on a subscription basis. Toothbrushes, Small, things like that.
So that absolutely, sub boxes are absolutely phenomenal in terms of
one sale, sell it again and again and again.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, that's definitely something that just thrown out there that we cover or going to be covering in Elite Sellers Academy as well. So with some of the stuff that we're going to be doing in there.
Oh, when?
Oh, like we're starting this week. We're starting this week.
Physical product subscription boxes.
Not subscription boxes, but it very much leans into what we do. So that is part of what we cover within our unique bundles and things like that. But we're not starting. We're starting our series of unique bundle training this week. But throughout the course of that training, we will be covering that model.
Oh, you should really throw in the subscription.
You know me, I don't really talk about
throw in the subscription box training and get a little bit of that in there. Start experimenting with that.
Yeah, definitely. It's an amazing model. It's absolutely phenomenal. We've experienced it ourselves, and it's the best place to be. And I remember the first type of one that I ever sold like that. We'll check in with you guys in the comments in a sec. But I remember it was that Dollar Shave Club. Do you remember seeing that? It was just marketing genius.
Yeah, really good, funny ads, weren't it? Like just ads that kind of went viral. Yeah, absolutely. They were taking on, again, everyday spend. Most people using Gillette 5-blade or 58-blade razors or whatever, and they come along and go, here's our razor for, I know it wasn't quite $1, but $1 for our razor instead of their $18 or whatever it was. And bit of a stroke of genius, well executed. But yeah, I think that model for me is, if I was to go into physical products, I wouldn't touch something that I got to keep acquiring customers for if I had to do it outside of a marketplace. So Amazon, they've already got the customers. eBay's already got the customers, so that's fine. But like, if you're going to build your own brand off of one of those things, I don't want it to be recurring.
Well, you can do it on Amazon. They can sign up to the subscribe and save, so you can
sell it. You can't sell it on Amazon, can you?
You can't sell it on Amazon, absolutely not. And Amazon, it's a little bit of a difficult one because the sales velocity is so strong on Amazon. It's so strong that if you are starting any type of physical sale business, physical item business, you are mad not to be selling on Amazon. Nothing can touch it in terms of for a launch of a new product. The traffic's there. Yes, you have to learn. It's a bit of a rabbit hole in terms of learning the launch process and PPC and everything like that. But nothing touches what Amazon can do and how it can propel a new physical product on the platform, possibly without the exception of, getting Kylie Jenner to give your product a boost, or what
I think, Nat. I think at some point in the future, assuming Amazon doesn't change the rules and they allow it, I think private label brands will probably make up 80% of Amazon sales. I genuinely do, because when I'm scrolling through the listings looking for stuff, because I've got a finely tuned eye because I've done private label before, it's like, that's private label, that's private label, that's private label. In fact, I actively avoid buying branded items on Amazon because it's just littered with private label stuff. And it's done so well that you can't tell. You can't tell it's private label. So that's why I go to big mainstream retailers when I want a branded product, because they sell the big brands. But I think it's only going to go more that way.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. But it's getting harder to tell the private label because everybody now is to really make it who I am, and you have to build a brand. It's as simple as that. Yeah. Again, hashtag covering this in ESA over the next, few months and weeks and things like that. So just saying that
what is ESA? You keep saying ESA. What is ESA, Natalie?
It's the Elite Sellers Academy. So Luke, who I run it with, is on with me next week on Never Mind the Buy Box. It's a monthly subscription where you guys, where we have a private group where we do weekly training. And each week, it's generally something different unless we're going through a course of information. So, we've just covered a multitude of subjects so far. But the next 6 to 8 weeks, we're really focusing on unique bundles. We're really focusing on building a brand on Amazon, looking at brand registry, PPC, launching a product, creating your own opportunities, all of these different types of things. So if you are actively selling on Amazon at the moment and you're getting a bit down and you're getting a bit fed up of, penny under reprices and things like that, in the kind of world that we sell in predominantly now, in that world, we don't really deal with those same frustrations. I'm not all saying it's the answer to every Amazon problem out there. Of course, with new opportunities, there's different types of challenges. But we've been doing this now for a good period of time, so we're aware of all of that. There's been a big change in all of these different types, the way that you can represent these products, and a lot of people are really struggling with that at the moment. And the new updated training answers all of those issues. I'll tell you
what Elite Sellers Academy is, Natalie.
Yeah, you're probably saying about 5 words.
No, Elite Sellers Academy is the best training for UK sellers in this space. That's what it is. You can't say that, but I can say that because I've seen how you've changed the market. And now people are doing stuff as though it's normal. And so we've been doing it forever. Stuff that you brought to this world, you brought to this space. And you're always looking to push the boundaries. So the fact that you're doing the bundles and the private stuff, it's like, it's a no-brainer. But we're not here to pitch that.
No, we're not here. We're not here. We just, if it comes up, we'll talk about it, obviously. Let's see. Mark Penn himself says he does 15% of revenue through Amazon Subscribe and Save.
You know what that is? Do you know how much revenue that is for Mark? Let me do the maths. I'm pretty good at maths when it's 15%. That means Mark does about £150 million a day on Amazon Subscribe and Save. That baller. He's such a baller.
Absolutely.
That's cool. That means it's a real thing if he's that. But I suppose that's the product categories that lend themselves to that, because you're not going to get.
Yeah, it's the consumable, the reusable products, the replenishable products, all of those different types of products.
So, Matt, can I ask you a question? How it works on Amazon? If somebody has the subscribe and save, let's say Mark's selling a product, and let's say he's selling the same product 10 other people are selling on one listing. So one ASIN, 10 sellers, and it's got a subscribe and save. If that person clicks subscribe and save, does that stock just come from Mark's items, or does it come from anyone on the listing, or have I misunderstood that?
No, you have to enroll in it as the seller. So Amazon want the reoccurring income, so they are going to give it to the seller. But obviously, if Mark was £10 more expensive and being in the subscribe and save, I'm pretty sure there's something about that they will either put you in the buy box position or something like that. I'm being completely honest, I don't know about it 100%. But
let's have Mark.
Yeah, we can ask
Mark, what happens? Let us know, because I'm interested. If there's 10 sellers on the same listing and you get a subscribe and save customer buy your products this time, what happens next time? Do they just buy them from you? And if you put your prices up, what happens? Do you lose the sale, or let us know how that works?
I know that you have to commit to the same price, and the sale does come back to you, I believe. It's one of those things that I looked into a couple of months ago, totally forgot about it. So I did a post about it actually in the group in Secret Wealth Project, but because it's a subject I don't visit that often, not a lot of people do it. If you search subscribe and save in Secret Wealth Project, I wrote a full detailing post, describing what it was, how it works, everything like that. I need to go and reread it myself though. It's one of the areas I'm not too sure about on Amazon. But let us know, Mark, please.
It's not an everyday thing for our community, is it, to be kind of doing that stuff, I guess?
No.
It's like first person sign up and own that listing gets the subscribe and save box.
Yeah, so it is seller dependent then.
Okay. I'm not sure I understand that anymore, but then I did before, but okay.
Oh yeah, I was pretty sure it's once they subscribe and save that the sale does come back to you, as I understand it. And the more items that you subscribe and save to, the bigger the percentages.
But what if you sell out, but the product's still on Amazon?
I'm pretty sure Mark might correct me on this, but I'm pretty sure you have to guarantee to commit to have that item in stock for a certain period of time. Otherwise, Amazon, it's part of the terms of service. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure that you have to commit. Is it like 60 days, 59 days or something like that you have to commit to have that product in stock for that period of time? Again, Mark, if you wouldn't mind confirming that. Hayden says that he started a sub box business a few years ago, same time Dollar Shave Club came out, for essential items, again, in the bathroom. Didn't work for a few reasons, but had potential, absolutely. And, that isn't something that there are a lot of people doing it, but there's so many niches. There's so many categories. There's so many different areas that you can focus on.
I'll tell you what I like about it. I'll tell you what I like about that model, right? If you're going to sell one something, so let's say you're going to sell a shaver with a thingy on it, a shaver thing, and let's say you can charge $10. Well, you can't really spend that much to acquire that customer if it's a one-time purchase. But if you can get them buying again and again and again, then you can spend multiple first months income acquiring the customer. So you might decide, I'm going to spend 2 months worth of revenue to acquire one customer. And people will go, oh my God, if you spend 2 months revenue, then you're going to lose money if they only stay a month. Yeah, you are. But the whole point of it is a bunch of them are going to stay 12 months or 24 months. And that's what I really like about it. It pushes your customer acquisition budget up, which enables you to compete better with pay-per-click and things like that.
But it's also people rely on people not taking up on stuff. It's a bit like gym memberships at the end of the day. They function so well because it's reoccurring income, because a big percentage of people don't use them. Slightly different with the sub box model, because you are going to be sending it out. You are going to be, regardless if someone's paying, you're going to have to fulfill those products. But there's nothing that's reoccurring.
It's more effort to cancel something than not, isn't it? Sometimes, like I've not used Gumroad. Gumroad is like a digital product platform. It's a bit basic and simplistic, but I used it years ago, and I've just gone and cancelled it like today or yesterday. But it was $10 a month. But $10 a month has been coming out of my account for years. I've not even been using it. It's just been coming out of my account. But it's more effort to go and figure out how to click cancel. And then, because it's only $10, you're like, oh, I'll do it next time. Oh, I'll do it next time. And years later, they've had probably hundreds of dollars out of me for nothing in return. And I suppose it's the same. Yeah, you've still got to ship the box, but they'll put it in the drawer. Yeah, I'll get to it later. And then the box comes. Yeah, I'll put it in a drawer later. And it's harder almost to cancel it than to continue with it.
No, absolutely. Mark says, that's right. You have to commit to a certain period of time to qualify for that subscription save. So it's 90 days. And we know he's the king of the replenishable ASIN. So he has thousands in stock. Absolutely.
10 years.
10 years stock. Yeah. And don't even bother trying to go on any of Mark's listings. In his own words, he will destroy you.
Yeah, Mark destroys you.
Absolutely. So one of the other things I wanted to discuss tonight, because we've seen it in the news this week about Rishi Sunak has sort of made this off the cuff statement about, he wants to be able to recoup some of the pandemic spending from the people that have done so well during the pandemic. During the pandemic, and obviously what's the big name on everyone's list, which is Amazon. They had their first $100 billion quarter last quarter, so they're making massive headlines. Do you remember at the start of all this pandemic when Jeff was like, oh yeah, we're not really making any extra money because do you remember that?
Yeah, they got violins out. Oh, Jeffy boy, you're not making much money. He was like, we've had to spend so much money on PPE. We've had to spend so much money on this and that. Get lost, Jeff. You got richer than rich during this period. And that's fine. Profit's not a dirty word, and well done to you.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Don't bleat poverty when you're making billions.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But Rishi was like, so this week he sort of made a comment that, maybe we're going to have to tax Amazon sellers or Amazon, not Amazon sellers essentially. But yeah, Amazon was the big kind of buzzword because there's lots of businesses. It's not just Amazon that have done well out of the pandemic at the end of the day. But again, what I wanted to see, because sometimes social media, Facebook, Instagram, all of these different platforms are amazing resources for information about selling online. But sometimes people can go a bit share crazy and start saying, oh my God, the world's going to be doomed because we're going to be taxed so much because we've done really well during the pandemic. At the end of the day, there was a 3% digital tax applied to all European countries in the last year, 18 months, something like that. And Amazon, the way that they work their fees out, yes, it was passed on to us, and in turn it is passed on to the end user. At the end of the day, Amazon ain't paying it. But actually, it only turns out that it's a very small percentage generally, and it is not worth losing any sleep over. So unless Rishi's like 50% tax or something like that, which is never going to happen.
Yeah, but I tell you what I don't like about it all is, I mean, I've not seen what he's announced. I've not been paying attention to the news or anything, but I'm making lots of assumptions here and maybe some incorrect ones. But it starts with, oh, yeah, don't worry. We're only going to tax the massive global mega corporations, and it's only going to be a tiny bit, like 1%. That's how they start. And then all of a sudden, that policy creep gets in, and all of a sudden, it's not just the big global corporations. We're going to tax the slightly smaller big global corporations. And then before you know it, they're taxing the small mom and pops. And it starts at like 1%, 2%, and ends up bleeding 5%, 10% before you know it, 20%. And ultimately, who does it harm the most, or who does it tax the most? Definitely not Amazon. It might be collecting it, but they ain't paying it. It's not going to come out. They're not going to take out their margins. They're going to make more next year than they did this year. So it's the end users' prices go up. And or the smaller sellers end up swallowing it, which I got a little bit of a problem with. So yeah, I don't like anything. I don't like any of that nonsense because what did I read today earlier? Income tax was meant to be a temporary thing back in 1913. A temporary thing. Income tax was. We're in 2021. Income tax never went anywhere, and it's like they say these little things, they get them in the back door, and then they just become bigger and bigger. And before you know it, you've agreed to something that's quite horrific. So I'm all for taxing Amazon, but tax them.
But tax Amazon.
Tax Amazon on their profits. Don't tax them on something that they're going to pass to the end consumer, or worse, to you guys as small sellers.
Amazon will always find their way out of stuff. At the end of the day, it has to be done in closing loopholes and this type of thing. But where does it end? And that's why I love talking about this sort of stuff, because yes, I totally agree with everything that you've said, Matt. But at the end of the day, you can't argue with how many people Amazon employ in this country, and the investment that they make. And
on the flip side, Nat, how many people have they displaced? For every one Amazon employee, how many small businesses have been put out of business for that one employee? And what happens when every warehouse in Amazon becomes those little robots that you've seen in Amazon, them little orange robots.
Yeah, I agree with that. They will eventually replace people with
automation.
machines.
So it's like, yeah, the small 10 small businesses went out of business for that one employee to be employed by a massive mega Amazon warehouse potentially. I'm just making these numbers up. I don't know that. But then what happens when that person gets put out of work, replaced by a robot? It's like, I don't know. There's no foresight. There's no like long-term view here.
No, and I think all we can do at the end of the day is just keep on keeping on. And my original point to this area of discussion is, what I don't want to see is like Facebook flooded with people, talking about this type of thing, which openly should be shared. And I completely agree that. But at the end of the day, not just looking on it and in a negative light and it being promoted like, oh God, OA's dead, time to give up Amazon kind of thing, because there's going to be so many taxes coming into place. It's more a case of, look, there's so much opportunity at the moment. And because there is opportunity, there's going to be some sort of paying the piper or whatever you call it, later down the line. But it is going to be small. I completely appreciate what you're saying. But my original intention is I don't want people to look at it and think, well, I won't bother starting on Amazon because it's going to be unsustainable, or I better give up now.
Amazon is the single biggest opportunity for normal everyday people right now, today, because it's easy as anything to get into, and the success rate is way higher than most. Yeah, I look at I've been in every business model, and like the success rate on Amazon is stratospheric compared to normal business models, because people hit a little hurdle in other stuff like affiliate marketing or whatever, and then they quit. Whereas on Amazon, once you bought the stock and send it in, we'll just wait a bit and Amazon will sell it for you, unless you screw up buying, which is dead easy not to screw up when you've got something like BuyBot Pro telling you, go buy this product. So it's like Amazon is the biggest opportunity right now, or one of the biggest opportunities. So I'm not one to bash it at all.
And I think Amazon has a better success rate for people to do better than it did 5 years ago. And that is a combination of better education out there, better software, BuyBot Pro, PPP, everything like that. And I'll come to Sean's question in a minute, because I said when I saw your announcement earlier, I promised myself I'd try and get it out of you. But there's a big combination of that. There's more support in communities. We do things like this. We let people know. You got people like Karen in your corner who's getting people unsuspended. All of these different types of things. That can't be a coincidence, because, ever since I've been doing Amazon, everyone's been saying Amazon's dead. I hear people saying less now than 5 years ago that OA is dead. I don't hear people saying that as much anymore. The people do still say it, but I'll always say, do I think OA is going to be exactly the same it is now in 3 years' time? Absolutely not. It's going to change.
That's why Elite Sellers Academy is so cool, because you stay on top of the changes and you've guided this market. You've done it. Because when I was teaching OA, it was very much vanilla OA on the whole, and you've just flipped on its head and introduced loads of stuff. And maybe people will forget that you've done that, but I know you've done that because I watched it in real time from the Lincoln thing that I bang on about, where you stood up and spoke, and all those really experienced sellers' mouths hung open, and they might have been like, "Yeah, I knew that." I knew that, and they were like scribbling notes and like, oh my God. And like, it's not stopped. It's not stopped. You've changed. For me, I think you've changed the game. And everybody now assumes it's just common knowledge, but 9 out of 10 times it came from you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for saying that. I'm not very good at accepting compliments or anything, but thank you for saying that. But the work's not done. It's going to change even more. And, there's going to be more certain restrictions. And that's what I was going to say as part of the declaration of conformity for the toys. Unfortunately, there's probably going to be a little bit more of that because of Brexit. We're going to be looking at different types of restrictions. But at the end of the day, yes, there may not be a way round to certain things like the toys declaration. There's no hack, there's no trick. But if you can pivot within your business, if you can keep up to date with all of the different changing, if you can offset some of your risk by transferring some of your revenue to eBay or adding additional revenue to eBay, if you can look at models like running a few sub boxes, if you can do all these different types of things, you're going to survive, guys. If you stay in the same old flipping deals, you know, and things like that, and you just stay in exactly the same thing, then it 3 years down the line, there's not going to be much room left for that. At the end of the day,
I think what's happened is vanilla OA, as I call it, used to be everything. It just used to be everything. It used to be all that most people were doing, just the normal stuff. And now it's become a base that kind of gets you by, covers the bills, and makes some decent money. But the more creative stuff, which you kind of cover, is the stuff that's exciting and more profitable. And that's the stuff that will transcend time almost. It changes, that stuff, but it will be probably for the longest.
Yeah.
I'm big pro. I'm pro Amazon. I'm pro OA. I'll say it as I see it. So if I think something's a bit wrong, I'll say it. But at the same time, I'm pro OA, pro Amazon, pro eBay, pro normal everyday people being able to earn a good living online. I managed to get, I wasn't a street kid, but I was a council estate kid. And without going through my old story, because you guys don't want to hear me talk about that again, I had nothing. And it was online that enabled me to have stuff because I had nothing given to me. And that's why when I see people in this game, it makes me so excited, because I know that if they just stick to it, they'll get stuff and they'll be able to get out of their current circumstances, whether that is leaving the job that they hate and the boss behind that they hate, or if it is getting off the council estate, or if it's going on holiday with the kids or whatever. This opportunity right here, I'm not selling you anything right now. I'm just saying this opportunity right now, Amazon, eBay, Shopify, physical products, online stuff is the place to be. 2 recessions I've lived through, traded through, and online is what's kept me going through all of it. Look at this pandemic. If you hadn't been selling online, you'd have been screwed. A lot of people are screwed.
Absolutely.
Screwed.
Yeah, and you've got big head of businesses. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Santander, people like that saying if you haven't pivoted online, you are dead in the water. And it's as simple as that. It's, you know, it's cut and dry. And I think interesting, that leads me on to, you know, Mark saying there is VAT. You know, we're going to be looking at 25% VAT. Lots of changes going to be coming up. But at the end of the day, you know, everyone's going to be in the same position. Gurav says tax Amazon sellers, those with multiple properties. What else can Rishi do? You know, we've got to carry on functioning at the end of the day, but we've got so much more opportunity now than certainly I've ever experienced or I've ever known about since we've been in this particular space. So it's not doom and gloom, guys. At the end of the day,
I'll tell you what Rishi can do. Sorry, Nat. I'll tell you what Rishi can do. He can goddamn unlock. Get this economy open back up. Stop locking down. It's ridiculous. That's what he needs to do. Stop kicking the can down the road and taxing us down the road. Stop spending on nonsense. Get us back opened up. Shield the vulnerable. Done.
I know that Paul's asked some questions that Mark's been answering there. So I don't know if we need to answer any of that, but what I am picking up on, looks like Mark's promised to come on another live and he's written it publicly. So hold on to your hats. I'll drop you a message, Mark. We will definitely arrange that. I think one of the best all time, never mind the buy box. I was like physically shattered after that. Never mind. It was 3 hours of pure like.
Yeah, but you can remember how much effort it took to like convince him. He really didn't want to come on. And like it took some real, not arm twisting, but some real persuasion to get him on. And I think if I remember right, we were both like, you'll love it once you've been on. You'll absolutely love it. And he, like everybody else, is super skeptical. And then when they come on, they love it. And now he's like, literally, he's making his own appointments. Now he's like, oh,
absolutely. Don't worry, we will definitely make space for Mark.
Mark would love to see you on again anytime.
Yeah, we'll make it happen, 100%. Blaine in game. Sorry, it's a YouTube name. So sorry, I don't know your actual name. Apologies. But I think you might have misrepresented us, or we might have misrepresented. So I think you guys underestimate how much room there is for people to resell. That there will always be room because not everyone wants to do it or stick with it. If that has come across, we didn't mean for that to come across. For in terms of arbitrage, buying and selling, there is always going to be, a mass market for that. Absolutely. So if that has come across as what we were saying, that's absolutely not the intention, how it came across.
That's not what we meant. I think you've misunderstood a little bit, Blaine.
Yeah. So it's like literally there will always be a market for that. Just certain things change that you have to kind of pivot around. But buy low, sell high, that absolutely will exist until the end of time. There's no doubt about it. Just you have to do it in slightly different ways, and you have to adapt to changing markets. So hopefully that clears it up. Yeah, I think a lot of people saying public declaration now for Mark. Definitely no going back. It was so worth getting worth the effort getting Mark on. Oh well, thank you. Appreciate that. Blaine says no need to. No need to apologize or anything like that. It was, just wanted to make that clear, obviously, as well. So one of the things that we briefly wanted to talk about, and classic, it was never going to be an hour, really, was it? Is one of the things that you wanted. Oh no, before we move on, and we'll talk about that as a final subject. Come on, tell us what's coming to PPP.
What, Profit Protector Pro?
Yeah.
An amazing.
Are you gonna tell us?
2 new big features come in. One is it's been ready forever. It's just waiting to implement. So we employed a dev specific to build this feature, and then we never actually put the feature in. So that feature's got to come out. But then there's another one that we have got a brand new team working on. Team and our current team together to put this thing together. And I don't think anybody else in the world is doing it. If they are, I haven't seen it, and I've seen them all. So maybe somewhere in the furthest reaches and corners of the internet, this is happening, but this is not happening anywhere that I have seen. So I think Profit Protector Pro, it will be a world's first, this feature. And I think people are really, really, really like it. That's all I can tell.
Well, that sounds amazing, but it's a bit like going.
So all I can say is it's the world's first. The reason why I can't tell you now is
I know.
Yeah, you get it. People watch, people copy, people, all the nonsense that we don't want any part of. So we just carry on trying to build the best product we can, look after our customers in the best way we can, and reinvest all our profits into making it just better. Best service, best software, best results. And people often ask us, what's the difference between Profit Protector Pro and other repricers? And it's this. I would say I like to call it an anti-repricer. So it's an anti-pricer almost, not a repricer. Repricers all just seem to focus on going down. They say they're going to go up as well, but when you actually use them, all they do is go down. And everyone's like, my sales have never been better. I'm sure your sales have never been better, but your profits are terrible because it tumbled the price. Well, what Profit Protector Pro does differently is it increases the price. So what you'll see now, because we've just put into it price history, so pricing history, so that you can see what's happening with your ASIN. So you can see every decision it makes, why it made it, what the prices were at that moment in time, the date stamp and time stamp and all that stuff. So what you'll see is, let's say you've got 10 items in stock. PPP, as long as you give it a nice wide min and max to work with, especially on the min side, so you don't just do 1 penny under current buy box, but you give it a good margin to work with, it grabs the buy box. And when it grabs the buy box, it increases the price. And as it increases the price now, as a user, as of a few weeks ago, you can now track it doing that. So say it grabbed the buy box at $19.99 and you made your first sale. Well, then you see your next sale and it's like $21.33. And then your next sale is like $22.45. So you literally can see it doing it, and it's the algorithms which within it literally doing what it says, what we've always said it does. And now you can actually see it doing it with the repricing history that's built into it. But that's not the big feature. The big feature is something I can't share. It's amazing, but I think you guys are going to love it. And like I say, world's first.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it sounds absolutely phenomenal, and Charlotte's beaten me to the punch. So if you can't tell us what it is, you've at least got to tell us when.
All I can say is that we have full-time devs working on it to be as fast as possible. But I don't know. I'm done promising time frames and stuff.
Yeah, no, I know. I think it's one of those things that I think if anyone knows you guys, you and Karen now, that you know, you don't bow down to pressure in the sense of if it's not ready, you ain't going to release it. It's as simple as that.
we can't, can we? Do you know what I mean? It's all right releasing something that's broke, but or not working or not completed, but that don't work. So now, I honestly, Q2, I believe, but bear in mind we're halfway through Q1. So if it took longer than Q2, I would be very surprised. Whether that's April, hopefully April, but whether it's April, May, June, I'm not sure. But I would say Q2.
So near future, but not imminent.
Really near future, yeah. The other feature that was built ages ago but not put in, that will be imminent. That will be going in. That's going in next. That's done. It's been done for ages. That just needs the main devs to work with the dev that we brought in just to build that feature, to put it both together, and then that'll go live. So that'll be cool. But no, this feature will come after that. But that's got a dev team working on it. So they're both side by side. So release schedule wise, it'll be the second big thing to come out. But that one, world's first.
And while we're on that as well, because obviously, Matt, you don't come on Nevermind the Buy Box as much now because we have loads of different, people coming on, and, which is amazing. We're really lucky. We attract some phenomenal sellers and people like Mark and people like Johnny last week, which was absolutely phenomenal. Nevermind the Buy Box. So if you haven't watched last week's replay, and then Christos the week before, which was equally every week, I think, oh my God, this is my favorite. This is my favorite. This is my favorite. But the quality of the people that are coming on, that's the difference. So, but we always make sure co-contributors, Matt, Karen, and Luke, we get on for updates and things like that. So when we do talk about updates in the software, it's because we get the chance to talk to you. So while we're very quickly on the software, because I know that BuyBot Pro's getting some updates. We're starting to see new little features on that continuously. As well.
BuyBot Pro is basically having a massive overhaul. So it's already ahead of the game. Like, it's already like as good as it gets. But we don't rest on our laurels. We've had full-time devs working on it from day one, and we continue to maintain that release schedule. So we're moving BuyBot Pro into a new realm at some point, but that's not what you're talking about, Natalie. What you're talking about is the updates on the chart. So we've been made aware, in fact, you helped us with it. We've been made aware that the charts lack some of the data that Keeper make available to us, because we buy data from Keeper wholesale and then put it into BuyBot Pro for you guys to benefit from. But some of the data that's in Keeper now, the new data, is not in BuyBot Pro. So we are one by one eliminating the things that we think should be in there that aren't in there. So we've already had 2 or 3 additions over the last few weeks into BuyBot Pro, but I can't remember what they are. But is it review count? Review count's on there.
Yeah, it's reviews and review count. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Which is it doesn't sound much, but it's a really vital little tool, especially when it comes to variations, especially when it comes to trying to work out if there's a suppressed buy box, if the data line, the BSR line, is being withheld by Amazon, then it's a very simple, and I think sometimes it can look a bit, big fanfare, review count, and everyone's like, and if you don't know how to use it properly, and then once, I'll tell you what we will do though, once all the little tweaks and everything like that have gone into place, what I'll do is I will do a live in this group to go through everything in Secret Wealth Project, just to go through absolutely everything, so everyone makes sure that they understand all of the different features that it's offered. Because I deal with sellers that have been selling for 2-3 years on Amazon, and when I show them some of the data points and things like that, they're like, didn't know you could use it for that, didn't know that was there, or whatever.
it was built. The BuyBot Pro charts was built at a time when it's snowing. It's lovely. It was built at a time when OA was a simpler game, whereby it had everything you needed. And to be fair, Keeper was simpler as well.
It was, absolutely.
Yeah, it was a lot simpler. And we basically took all of the data we could get out of Keeper and put it into BuyBot Pro. So when people said, do I need Keeper and BuyBot Pro? Well, at the time, no, you don't really. By all means, get Keeper, but BuyBot Pro did everything. And what Keeper's done is they've continued to add features to their charts that they have since added in their API that we can get hold of, but we weren't aware people wanted them. But I think a lot of that comes down to your training in Elite Sellers Academy, Nat. You do things next level. So you want all the little tiny tweaks because it makes a difference to sourcing and stuff, whereas most vanilla OAers won't need it. So we're overhauling BuyBot Pro massively on the charts level. And a lot of the things that you see unique to Keeper, that Keeper do sell us on a wholesale basis, are going to be in BuyBot Pro and some other cool stuff. We're always developing it, but that's one of the main things that we're pushing right now. Massive overhaul on the chart. So you'll see huge changes over the next few weeks, and it'll feel a lot more like the modern day Keeper does.
Absolutely. Completely agree with David actually here. So public asking, BuyBot Pro doing anything for small and light? Small and light is going to be coming definitely, I think, more onto people's radars. Amazon just announced a new prepping service with it today, where they're a bit like they'll do it for free, which is really kind of weird, and I'm still trying to process that they will label people small and light for free. It's really weird. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would still really have to be in a desperate spot to let Amazon prep any of my goods. But so I wouldn't recommend that anyone actually goes for it, but I think more people, it's becoming more prevalent in people's minds, definitely small and light. So I +1 that definitely for some fee updates for small and light.
Yeah, David, I don't know about a timeline for what new updates we're doing right now. I don't keep hold of that. But if the team are aware of it and aware of the importance of it, then we'll bang it in there. Don't worry. Bless you, Nat. We'll bang it in there. So I don't know anything about that in relation to BuyBot Pro. I don't know what we've got coming with it. So I don't know the answer to it.
David, just in case. Yeah, David, just in case, just pop it in the BuyBot Pro Facebook group. Please, as a suggestion. That's what I would do. I'd imagine it's been asked for in the past. Okay. I would imagine. But, you know, if it hasn't, you never know. Sometimes things do slip through the cracks, don't they?
Course, so yeah, I've no idea, because obviously we've got a growing team now. So we've got team on it, Karen's on it. Like, I don't know.
Absolutely. David said it's free, but they'll lose half the stock. 100%. So we definitely don't recommend that that you do use Amazon for any type of their services. But it's interesting when Amazon start publicly, you know, talking about that type of thing, you can always tell that more and more people are going to start talking about it. So that's why it's important to definitely be looking at that feature. So Mark says, if you don't have BuyBot Pro or Profit Protector Pro, give it a trial. It will pay for itself. Absolutely. I can't stress enough. You have to invest in tools and systems for your business. That's coming from Mark. That's coming from Mark Pan. An 8-figure or 9-figure seller? 8, but soon to be 9, I'd imagine. Is that 8-figure per week? Like, this guy's huge. And if he's telling you use BuyBot Pro and Profit Protector Pro, it doesn't get much more of an endorsement than that. So I appreciate that, Mark. I agree with the sentiment, obviously, but I really appreciate that feedback. And yeah, get on it. Mark's telling you. Mark, 8-figure sellers telling you to get on BuyBot Pro and Profit Protector Pro. You need to get on it. Absolutely. Cindy says BuyBot Pro is my savior. I'm literally lost without it. It stopped working for half an hour once, and I was wandering around like a lost puppy. Same happened to me, Cindy. Same happened to me. I think I was trying to make a video of one of the features in it or something, and I think it was Keeper was down for half an hour or something. Maybe it was the same half an hour. Keeper was down for half an hour, and I don't think it was pulling the data through, so it weren't working right or something like that. And it's like, yeah, I felt it. I was like, wow. You realize how much it's become an everyday essential tool when it's not there. Mm-hmm. Well, I think the funny thing is you can always tell. And by the way, guys, you know, because we are realists, human things happen. Software does go down from time to time. It's unavoidable.
Yeah.
But I think it's not funny. I don't mean it like this, but it's like the world is coming to an end. If there's a little, you know, like glitch or an outage on Bybot Pro for like half an hour or something like that, which is rare, I will absolutely say it's really, really rare. But Secret Wealth Project, Bybot Pro Group, everyone's like, is it down? Is it down? What's going on? Holly, Karen, Matt, tag. You know, it's like the whole world's coming to an end.
We get on it as soon as we can, though. But like, we had an AWS outage, so we host with Amazon for Profit Protector Pro, and they had an AWS outage, so that took us down. Again, nothing to do with us. There's nothing we could do. Just literally, the server farm that we host with was down for a bit, and it was affecting loads of services, not just us, like worldwide. But then Google Play Store did something. Oh no, Google Chrome Store did something once. And again, that's a Chrome Store issue, not on us, but there's nothing you can do sometimes. But we do our best to stay on top of it always.
Yeah. Katie's just asked the question. Let me process it as I'm reading it because I haven't read it in full. Just putting it out there with regards to declarations of conformity. Do you think it's possible that listing is only being removed if no sellers have uploaded the DOC, and where the listings are still active, the deadline has passed, maybe Amazon has received DOCs from some sellers? Yes, I do think there's an element of that. Again, I've heard conflicting reports of whereas only one declaration of conformity needs to be uploaded for the product ASIN in itself, whereas some people I hear that some sellers are getting removed while some sellers are staying on, so that contradicts that as well. That supports that. But then I'm hearing that a whole listing's getting taken down with 50 people on, and I think, okay, could one of the 50 people have not found it? And if that's the case, so it's a lot of conflicting, contradiction information. So I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know, but no one knows, unfortunately.
Let the dust settle, and I'm sure the answer will show itself. And I tell you what, if anybody's going to know, it's going to be you, Nat.
Well, if you can, the advice is if you always appeal it for the toys, and the way to appeal it is to say, if you're getting it on a product that is clearly for a over 14-year-old child, then appeal it and go through that process of appealing it, saying this product is intended for children over the age of 14, and that should be enough to get it through. You can appeal it with the actual documentation. I haven't heard of anyone being successful with an appeal without the documentation. Maybe I might have heard like one person talking about it. But if you're always going to appeal, but to be honest, the only way you're going to be able to get it through an appeal is if you can get hold of that declaration of conformity, which means you have to have bought it from a wholesaler, distributor, or manufacturer. If you've bought it from Tesco's is not going to give you that declaration of conformity. You may be lucky. You may be able to Google it and say like Fisher Price Pram Declaration of Conformity UK, and you may find that documentation on Google. And if you do, then it's worth submitting it under that form. But unfortunately, there's no point stressing yourself out trying to contact Tesco's to get a declaration of conformity. They're not going to give it to you. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Hey, I hate this. I hate being like the negative person. Oh, don't do this, don't do that. But you have to be realist at the end of the day. And Amazon's a big old space, and as resellers, it's really interesting. We only stay within, I think it's like 4% of the selling market on Amazon. It's so small, the area that most resellers stay in. Broaden some horizons, do some reverse searches, look at some brands, look around your house, look at different things for inspiration, and start looking at different products that can then lead you into different categories. 100%.
Matthew said BBP, the best data source for buying decisions. Cheers, Matthew. Absolutely. Yeah. I agree.
Absolutely, Matthew, another 7-figure seller as well. So
the big boys, this is what I was told. I won't share his name because I don't know if he wants me to share it, but somebody quite prominent in this space says he's got access to the data of who uses what, and he says all the big boys use Bybot Pro. That's what he says. I'm just putting it out there. That's what he says. And Matthew Baker using Bybot Pro. And been a big seller. Mark Penn.
Absolutely. David said, any Sunfully updates?
No, not really, David. We are just working at ironing out all kinks. So just plowing away. We just don't want to put anything out there that's not perfect. So we've got some cool little teaser videos of it that are created, ready to go for when we're ready to launch. But we're not there yet. We want to make something that we don't mind bugs. Bugs are part of software. Like every piece of software will have bugs, but we don't want to have any bugs that we know of. So until we can fix everything, we're not ready to go. So that's all we're working on right now. Bugs, fixing it. But I can't tell you our long-term plans for it right now. Maybe some people will know out there, but honestly, they'll blow you away. Sunfully looks so simple when you look at Sunfully Dash, what we're doing right now. But like after that, it's going to be groundbreaking, game-changing stuff. But right now, we just got to get the core stuff right. So yeah, nothing new, just time. Software takes time and money and effort, and we're just doing lots of that.
And your guys' feedback that are in the beta group as well, which is absolutely vital to ensuring that the software, works properly. It does what it says it does. It's really useful.
Yeah. If you're a Sunfully beta tester, please pop back on it. If you've not used it for a while because you're waiting for a bug or two to get fixed up, pop back on it, use it. Anything you spot, please pop it in the Sunfully beta Facebook group, because if you just use it once and go, oh no, this thing's broke, I've reported it, I'll leave it until late, like I'll come back whenever and forget about it. That doesn't help us develop it. So pop back on if you're already a beta tester, give it a little shot, see how it is now, because I'm being told, I think it was Steve said, right. Steve Wright said, I think it was Steve Wright. I was told by Ollie. He said the words, I can't remember what words he used, but it's pretty damn accurate apart from one thing. So for Steve has been really super helpful with us. But for Steve to be saying that it's super damn accurate in most ways, but this one thing means we're getting so close to a bug-free, ready to release on open beta thing. But we'll see.
Cool. Mark just reinforced. Oh, Charlotte, if you were to sell a toy before the date and they want the documents, can you just delete the listing? Yeah, absolutely. Get rid of it. Don't leave it around. I mean, it'll probably get removed anyway. And just following on for John's question, it's no, you're not going to get suspended. Don't worry about that. As far as we're aware, Amazon certainly haven't indicated that it's going to have a negative impact on your account health. But the way that I see it is, just be really vigilant with these type of things, because just because Amazon is saying at the moment it's not going to have an impact on your health and your account health and you're stacking them up, they could do a turnaround overnight. And if you've got loads of them that are restricted and things like that, you could get caught up in that changeover. So just if you have sold out, like Charlotte has said, delete the listing, get rid of it. But what happens is for the majority of people, they're going into the listings are being removed, and then the goods are just going into stranded, and you are able to create a removal order and get those goods back to you. I just want to say a big shout out also to Philip Dype, who's also been helping me with some of this information, because he is a very, I don't want to give too much away, but he has a lot of, I think he's very publicly said he's got a lot of ASINs in this kind of category. So he's been giving me some information, as have some other sellers, about, different types of SKUs. And I've been analyzing them and looking at different things, and we can't find a pattern, unfortunately. It is what it is. But as soon as we find out, we'll let you guys know.
Legend.
Yeah, absolutely. So we all say thank you. So thank you.
Mark says, guys, lots of categories, 90% better than toys. Make your life easier and avoid extra admin like cock.
Certificate of conformity. We will just clarify that as well for all of you that might be getting confused with what Matt was saying earlier on about pig pheromones and things like that. I saw someone commenting, I think it was Blaine actually earlier, that said, what? That conversation went off on a little bit of a tangent. Let's just see. Rachel said they've just sent to make the listing active. If you don't provide the DOC, comes up as stranded and restricted ASIN for whatever reason. So some people are getting removed off the listing. Sometimes the listing's going completely. You just got to roll with the punches. Sometimes it's disappearing, presumably when someone else has maybe added a declaration of conformity. So there's about 4 different things that can kind of happen with it, but none, as we know at the moment, do have any negative impact on account health, which is the most important thing at the end of the day. So I think that's it. I think we're out of comments.
No, we're not. Can't you see them?
No. Where?
Oh, no. David says, I am beta on something.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Great and simple, clear, as you say. Cheers, David. Nice one. Yeah, it looks great. It feels nice. It looks great. It's going to be such an amazing piece of software. We just need to iron everything out so it's nice and bug-free.
Yeah, absolutely. And it feels like it's one of those things that you're so close now to. It feels like just yesterday you were throwing the idea around, essentially.
Really?
But everything.
I'm glad it feels like that to you. It don't feel like that to us.
I know it's been in development for a really long time, but you know what? These things really take time. And because I think you're very transparent with the group, whereas most people will probably do something and they'd work on it for like 2 years and then bring it out, but you get really excited. You want to give people the best kind of software and opportunity within their business. So we kind of let people know what's coming up, essentially. But that's genuine. I hope that comes across, because that, it's obvious to me anyway. It's because you guys are passionate about what you do, and you want to give people the best possible, updates and things in the business.
We love it. I tell you what, it's something I've not shared that nobody will probably be interested in, but we've employed 2 new people this week, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Not devs. I'm talking about 2 new core team members. One started yesterday. One starts in about a week. So it feels really nice to be building the team, and doing something amazing, and hopefully that really helps you guys. So
yeah, absolutely. And that, I think that comes across. Mark said he would go all day, but Ben Fogle is on soon. Don't know what that means. Absolutely.
Someone on telly, presumably Ben Fogle.
No, I know who Ben Fogle is, but I don't know what he's doing.
Who's Ben Fogle?
He does like. I think he used to do like wildlife stuff. The thing I really liked him in a couple of years ago, he did this like Antarctic challenge with him, James Cracknell, and Johnny Lee Miller, I think it was, or some guy like that. And they did like an Antarctic race. That was really good. But he nearly died a few years ago as well. He had like a flesh-eating parasite in his thing, and like nearly died. But he does loads of survival wilderness stuff, I think. Anyway,
new life in the wild, he says.
Oh yeah, so yeah, wildlife, wilderness kind of stuff. So John says, one more question: should new sellers get sourcing tools? I think Matt has done some reviews on sourcing tools in the past. Yes, BuyBot Pro definitely. It's not a sourcing tool; it's an analysis tool, which is vital.
You can use the manual sourcing accelerator within BuyBot Pro that not everybody knows about, but that is, as far as I'm concerned, it's the best way to source, but to do it manually. It's not the quickest way, but it does make it as quick as it can be. But it's the best way to source. And that's in BuyBot Pro.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you haven't looked at BuyBot Pro yet, John, please do, because that's absolutely essential. You've seen it in the comments tonight. Goes, on the odd occasion it might have gone down for half an hour. People can't survive without it. It's become such a staple. It's become such a staple of people that sell on Amazon, that most people can't do without it. Absolutely. There's a multitude of features. If we talked about all the features, we'd be here till 10 o'clock. There's that many features on it. Absolutely essential.
We don't want to bore you guys.
No, absolutely essential. I think it's Gurav has asked. Okay, question for Matt. Actually, it's Christos. We doing pubs or rank tonight? Oh, I'm assuming that's some sort of game.
Apex Legends, me and the big horse.
Do you know, I was reading that like it was a really serious question. It was like, oh, okay, this is going to be good. It's going to be about BuyBot Pro, PPP, and then I realised it's about a computer game.
Me and Christos been playing a lot of Apex Legends lately. Every night. Board lockdown, big boys end up dropping into the PS5 and playing a bit of Apex Legends. Yeah, we'll probably, depends who's playing, Christos, but if it's you and me, probably ranked.
Crazy. I don't even know what that means, and I'm not even going to ask, to be perfectly honest. Charlotte says she can't live without BuyBot Pro. David, I'm going to be completely honest. I feel exactly the same. I don't think there has been many new ones, not in the same wave that there was with the declarations of conformity. So, but don't forget, guys, this happened once before. It happened about 6 months ago, 8 months ago. So it could just be it's a massive annual thing that Amazon do, and for 9 months of the year you might be all right for everything else, and they're just, you know, they're having a bit of a cull or something like that, or a bit of an update, or because of Brexit, because more you know, kind of standard safety issues and things like that are going to be more prevalent as the CE mark changes and we go on to, you know, the British kite mark or whatever we're going to be going into. We might start seeing more of these things in different categories. We know we're definitely going to see it in supplements. That's definitely going to happen at some point in, you know, in the not too distant future. So, you know, we just have to roll with the punches as we come and go. But if someone said to me, should I stop sourcing toys completely and get out of that game? I would say not. You know, if you are reliant on it 100%, probably you need to mix things up a little bit. But,
yeah,
you know, God, if we were all worried about what Amazon would do, none of us would sell on Amazon. And that's the way you got to look at it. So yeah, mix it up a bit. That's definitely my my advice. Oh, John's already got BuyBot Pro, which is good. So you already know how good it is, which is amazing. Right. Okay. Well, I think we're kind of, you know, we've discussed a lot tonight. We've discussed what's coming in the future. We've discussed software. We've, you know, had a good old chinwag with Matt, caught up with him. So we do always appreciate when you come on and spend your time with us. We know how precious your time is and how busy you are with everything going on in your life and all the software and everything like that and everything that you do for the Amazon community. So
it's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to join you now.
Oh, thank you.
But we didn't get to talk about macroeconomics, aliens, AI, or any of the other stuff. But it's
we still have to save it for next time. Do you know what? I'm a bit bummed, actually, because I think there is something massive going on outside of Amazon at the moment, and that's the whole Bitcoin kind of conversation. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, yeah, if you want to talk about it for 5 minutes, I don't know a lot about it, but I do know.
Okay. You're okay.
When something's that big, that there's something going on.
I don't know enough about Bitcoin to even talk about it. You're better off talking to Luke Dugan. I think he's a little bit more informed. But yeah, I don't know. Okay. Bitcoin for me, it's one of them things whereby it's either going to rocket or it's going to go to nothing or somewhere as close to it. And it depends on what experts you listen to. It all, like, obviously Bitcoin bugs, if you like. They're going to tell you buy Bitcoin. It's like it's going to go to 100,000 or 1 million or whatever. That's what they say. And then you've got your anti-Bitcoiners that are like, look, it's risky. It could go to zero. I think potentially there's regulatory things that could take it to zero potentially. And I think that's why I've not bought any. And I probably never will buy any. But if it did go down to like $3,000 again, I'd probably buy some. But I don't know. I'm not the guy to talk to about Bitcoin, to be honest.
No, it's a very specialist subject, absolutely, and I think it's something that you gotta really know what you're talking about. And I didn't mean like go into some deep dark conversation about it or anything like that. But
I don't know enough.
I don't know
enough about it now. It'd be disingenuous of me to pretend that I did. I mean, yeah. I know how I feel about it, and that is that I am too scared of the risk to buy it. I'm too conservative an investor to dabble in that. But you do see people making massive returns. You do see people like Elon Musk buying through Tesla's treasury policy, buying like $1.5 billion or something of Bitcoin, which if that's the case, it's mad. But I mean, look at how much money he could make just like that if it goes up a little bit, and which I think it did. I think it went up $6,000 after he announced that or whatever.
Yeah, I think it was crazy.
So, I don't know.
Can you imagine that conversation that Elon had with his FD? Right, I want you to buy $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin out of the petty cash. Can you imagine his face? It must have been like, are you nuts? Are you absolutely crazy? But my brother, he's pretty high up in JP Morgan. And my brother's been saying for some time that very under the radar, very secretly, JP Morgan have been investing a lot into Bitcoin. So I think it's the start of legitimizing the currency, and I think that's all I know about it, guys. It's not financial advice. I'm not telling anyone to invest or anything like that, but I think you're absolutely right. I think we're going to start seeing regulatory kind of
well those noises have been coming out of people like Janet Yellen. They've been saying the narrative is now within certain within central bank kind of related communities, and the powers that be, the big money people, a lot of them seem to be coming up with this narrative that Bitcoin is used by drug dealers and criminals and all this stuff. And it's like, just where's that narrative leading? Now, it'll be a force of good or evil as to who wins or whatever, but I think that's what Bitcoin's facing. It's got to get past the people that would like to see it disappear. And I think those powerful people could take it to zero. So, I know there's people out there that say it can't be taken to zero, but it can be taken to zero if they make it illegal for you to use or for you to convert Bitcoin into cash or whatever. If they make it illegal, then you're not going to be using it. You're going to get out of it. You've only got to take a few big countries to do that all in one go, and then Bitcoin goes to next to nothing. So I'm not saying that will happen, and I definitely wouldn't want it to happen because a lot of people are holding Bitcoin, but to ignore the fact that it could, is madness to me, especially with the narrative that seems to be ramping up from these figures like Janet Yellen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got to be honest, I think if proof was anything, what happened with, and again, it's going down a different rabbit hole, which we're not going to go down. But, anyone that believes that these people don't want to do what they want to do is just look at what happened with Wall Street and that last week. They didn't like what was happening. They put their foot down and they won, which in a perceived free society is hang on.
Yeah.
It's one way or another. So interesting chat, interesting thoughts, but Matt and I certainly are not. Normally I can hold a good conversation about a lot of these different things, but it's an area I know absolutely nothing about. So I don't know, maybe one day we'll get someone on that can enlighten us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're 151 in. So, you know what, before we go, Nat, we should remind people that Matthew Wright's seven-figure eBay seller and Amazon seller, his course is closing tomorrow night. Is he doing a first training tomorrow night, Nat?
Yeah, first training 7 o'clock
tomorrow night at 7. So the cart's closing at 6:59. So if you want to get into his course, you got to buy it before tomorrow night, before the first training. So I'm sure he would have wanted us to remind you guys of that.
Absolutely. If anybody wants to ask any questions about it or anything like that, I'm leaving myself relatively open between now and when the cart closes. So just drop me a message. I'm happy to, answer any questions or anything like that you have about it, because we want to make sure, I don't want anyone to miss out because they didn't realize something was included or they didn't think it was right for them or at a certain point in their business. So yeah, please drop me a message. Mark's he's still hanging in there. He says 3-way soon. Absolutely. Matt will bring the pig pheromones and we will definitely I'll drop you a message, Mark, and we'll get you soon back on Nevermind the Buy Box. Thanks, Matt. Luke is joining me next week with some updates about everything that's going. He's been doing some exciting stuff lately. Luke is my partner in crime on Elite Sellers Academy, so we're going to have a good old catch up with him next week, and then one for the diary the week after that. I think it's the week after that. I will give you guys plenty of notice. There is going to be a not to be missed Nevermind the Buy Box. Someone is going to be coming on, not a seller or anything like that, but someone pretty I don't know, very knowledgeable in their area of expertise, which is to do with the Amazon European markets and everything like that. So an absolute authority, and someone, after me just having a brief conversation, I was like, wow, this guy knows his stuff. So we're going to I think it's week after next. So for those of you that are not selling in Europe anymore and are missing the life out of not selling in Europe, please tune into that one, because there is going to be some phenomenal information that we're going to be delivering about what's going on in the European markets at the moment, and you know, what's going to happen with the, you know, with the whole situation essentially. So, but I'll keep you reminded and updated about that as well.
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Cool.
Thanks a lot, guys. And nice to see you all. And yeah, nice to see you, Nat. Thanks for inviting me on again.
You're welcome. You're always welcome. Absolutely. Thanks everyone for watching. See you same time again next week. Have a great week. See you later.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.